Welcome to the Knowing Podcast.
Welcome
to the Knowing God Podcast by Hide and Seek Ministries. Great for kids and grown-ups.
This is episode number 50 of the Knowing God Podcast for kids, and my name is Erin, and I have a little helper. Who are you?
Grayson.
Hi, Grayson. What do I have in my hands?
A purple and gray football.
Yeah, I do. Kind of small and soft. Is it soft?
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to do something with this football. Are you ready?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Here we go. What did I just do?
You hit me on the head with it.
Okay. Was that fun? Did you like being hit in the head with a football? No. Good thing it was soft, right?
Good thing it wasn't a real football.
Yeah.
That they actually used.
That's true.
Yeah, that would hurt bad.
Would you like to know why I hit you in the head with a football?
Why?
During this episode today, we are going to pretend that this football is a bad thought. Okay? Okay. So when I threw this football at your head, it was like you just had a bad thought. Like a bad thought just entered your head all of a sudden. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Do you remember in the last episode when we were talking about Lucas and his cat?
Yeah.
What was his cat's name?
Pickles.
Yeah, Pickles. So Lucas shot his brand new Nerf gun in the living room when his mom told him not to. And what happened when he did that?
Well, his mom came running in the room, and then he was hiding it behind his back, and then he had a thought, and he lied to our mom, and then later on, he, felt bad, and then he apologized.
So when Lucas had a thought to lie to his mom, it's like this football hit him in the head. Now remember, we're just pretending. We're pretending that this football is what? Is a bad thought. Yes. So when he had a thought to lie, it's like a football hit him in the head. And remember in the last episode, we read in the book of James, in James 1, 14 and 15, and we talked about 4 steps or 4 things that happen when we are tempted or when we have a bad thought. So let's talk about those 4 things really quick so we remember, okay? So step number 1 is it's like this football hits you in the head. You have a thought to do something bad. And then step number 2 is your thought turns into sin. So when Lucas listened to his bad thought and he decided to lie to his mom, his thought turned into sin, and that's step number 2. And step number 3 is your sin starts to grow and grow and grow. So if Lucas didn't feel bad about lying and he kept making the choice to lie and lie again, it would be like his sin is growing and growing, and that's step number 3. And step number 4 is your sin becomes full grown and it brings forth death, and that means like you're separated from God. Do you remember all of those steps?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, so here's what we want to talk about today. What should we do when a football hits us in the head? That's what we want to talk about.
Well, we should just ignore it.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, and we should just do the right thing.
Okay, so first I have a question for you. If I take this football and I throw it at your head, is there anything you can do to stop it from hitting your head? So you know I'm about ready to throw it. What can you do to stop it?
I can put my hands over my head.
Yeah, you can put your hands up and try to block it. That works, doesn't it?
Uh-huh.
Then I didn't hit you in the head.
Uh-huh.
But what if you're not looking at me? What if you turn around and you don't know when I'm going to throw it? Turn around and look over there. Can you block? You don't know when I'm going to throw it.
I can just put my hands behind the head.
Yeah, but you would get tired eventually, right?
Yeah.
You'd have to put your hands down, and then I could just throw it then.
Well, I could fake it like I'm not, and right when you throw it, I'd put them up again.
Yeah. So my point is, the Bible says that everyone will be tempted in their life. So no matter who you are, every person will be tempted during their lifetime. In Luke 4, we read that Jesus was even tempted by Satan when he was on earth. So we may not be able to stop every bad thought or every temptation, but the important question is, what are we going to do when the football hits us in the head? What are we going to do when we have a bad thought? And that's what we want to talk about. So here's what we don't want to do with this football. When the football hits you in the head, you don't want to pick it up and start running with it. So let me tell you what I mean, okay?
Okay.
We are pretending that this football is what?
A bad thought?
A bad thought. And when we have a bad thought, we have to make a choice. Are you going to make that bad thought go away, or are you going to pick it up and start running with it? Are you going to just keep thinking and thinking about that bad thought instead of making it go away? It's kind of like when Lucas listened to his bad thought and he decided to lie to his mom. A temptation always starts right here in your mind. And it's so important to stop those bad thoughts right when you have them. Now, we've talked about bad thoughts like wanting to lie so we don't get in trouble, but a bad thought could be about all kinds of things. Anything that does not match what the Bible says. Maybe you are angry at someone and you keep thinking about how you will never forgive them. Or maybe you keep thinking about things that really make you scared. Or maybe you keep thinking about how you think God will never answer your prayers. Any thought that does not match what the Bible says, it can lead to bad things. It can lead to steps 2, 3, and 4, like we were talking about earlier. So it's so important that when a football hits us in the head, or when we have a thought that doesn't match what the Bible says, it's important that we don't pick up this football and start running with it. Instead of picking up the football, we need to throw it away in the trash and get rid of it. We need to get rid of those bad thoughts. But in order to be able to throw the football in the trash, in order to get rid of those bad thoughts, we need to be prepared. We need to be ready. It's kind of like practicing for a sport so you're ready to play a game. But first we need to understand something, okay?
Okay.
So in James 1:13 it says, when people are tempted, they should not say, God is tempting me. Evil cannot tempt God, and God himself does not tempt anyone. So we need to understand that it's not God giving you those bad thoughts. God is not throwing a football at your head. Instead, God gives us a way to escape those bad thoughts. In 1 Corinthians 10:13, it says, but you can trust God, who will not permit you to be tempted more than you can stand. But when you are tempted, he will give you a way to escape. So in other words, God is here to help us and not hurt us. And he has given us many different ways to help us when we are tempted, to help us escape from temptation. So let's talk about some of those ways, okay?
Okay.
We've already been talking about one way to escape temptation, and that is to control our thoughts. And this is so important that I'm going to read one more verse in the Bible about what we think about. In Philippians 4:8, it says, always think about what is true. Think about what is noble and right and pure. Think about what is lovely and worthy of respect. If anything is excellent or worthy of praise, think about those things. It is completely your choice what you think about. You may not be able to stop a bad thought from coming into your mind, but you can choose whether you keep thinking about it or not. In that first sentence in the verse in Philippians says that we need to think about what is true. Did you know that all sin, all temptation starts with what is not true? Did you know that? It starts with a lie. Think about Adam and Eve when they were tempted in the garden. Who came and told them a lie?
The serpent, which was Satan, and they were tempted to eat the fruit that God said not to, and they did.
Yeah.
So God kicked them out of the garden.
That's right. So that temptation, when they were tempted, it started with a lie. And think about Lucas. Lucas had a thought that he needed to lie to his mom so he wouldn't get in trouble. But was that true?
No.
No. Lying actually gets us into more trouble. instead of getting us out of trouble. So that thought was not true. His temptation started with a lie too. Started with something that was not true. There are all kinds of examples we could use, but all bad thoughts and temptations start with a lie. So we need to make a choice to only think about what is true, like it says to do in Philippians. So how do we know what is true? How do we know?
Well, if it matches with the Bible, then it's true. But if it's like something completely different, like to not honor your mother because it says to honor your mother and father, like if you say, like, if your mom says, go clean your room, and you lie and say, I already did, and that's just because you don't want to, and that's not obeying your mother.
That's right. So the second thing we need to do to be able to be ready for temptation and escape it is we need to read the Bible. We need to read the Bible every day and know what it says and get it in our hearts so we will be able to recognize when a thought is not true. We'll know that it's not true because we know what is true. So you can say, hey, that thought doesn't match what the Bible says. And you can shoo that thought away because you know it's not true. And you make a choice to think about what is true. You make a choice to think about what matches the Bible. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So number 1 is think about what is true. And number 2 is read the Bible so you know what is true. Here's number 3. Are you ready? Number 3 is what Jesus said to his disciples. He said this in Luke 22:40. He said, pray that you may not enter into temptation. So number 3 is pray. Entering into temptation is like step number 2 from James. It's like you've had a thought, but you didn't shoo it away, and you keep thinking and thinking about it until eventually you listen to that thought and you do what it says. Then it's kind of like you've walked through the door of something bad. You've entered into temptation. And Jesus says that we need to pray so we don't enter into temptation. It's always a good thing to ask God for help for all kinds of things. Ask him for knowledge and wisdom. Ask him to help you know what to do. Ask him to be strong, to give you strength and boldness. Because prayer works and God listens to your prayers and he will always help you when you ask him. We can't do this without Jesus. We need his help. And so we need to pray and ask him for help. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, so this is the last thing that we're going to talk about, what we need to do to be prepared and to be able to escape temptation. Here's the last thing. It's this. It's go your own way. In Proverbs 4:14 and 15, it says, don't take the path of evil people. Don't live the way sinners do. Stay away from their path and don't travel on it. Turn away from it and go your own way. In other words, stay away from bad things. Stay away from bad movies or bad music, bad television, bad books, all those kinds of things. And stay away from people who are doing bad things or saying bad things. When you're around those kinds of things, those things enter into your heart. And it's like you're opening the door for temptation. You're saying, hey, come on in, bad thought. Come on. So you need to make the choice to go your own way, to stay away from all of those bad things. Don't even go near them. Okay, so one more time, let's list those 4 things we said to escape temptation. Number 1 was think about what is true. And number 2 was read the Bible so we know what is true. And number 3 is pray and ask for help. And number 4 is go your own way. Stay away from bad things. So then when I do this with the football and you have a bad thought, you can be ready and prepared. And you can say, I'm going to take this football and what are you going to do with it? Are you going to start running with it? No, you're going to go throw it in the trash can. Yep.
Throw it in the trash can.
Okay, and you'll be ready to do that. And then you won't make it to steps 2, 3, and 4 like it says in James. You'll be ready to shoo those bad thoughts away.
You hit me with this football way too many times. It's my turn.
Oh, no. Oh. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us today. You can go to our website, hideandseekministries.com/podcast, and you can get a free printable worksheet to review what we've talked about today. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope that you join us again on the next episode of the Knowing God podcast for kids.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. So, Grayson, do you like football?
Not really, but I kind of like it.
You kind of like it? What do you normally do when there's a football game on in our house?
Well, I used to just find something else to do, but now it's funny because I started liking football when football season was over. So now I have to wait next football season to watch more games.
Well, that was kind of bad timing, huh?
Yeah.
Kind of like you just decided you like fried rice the other day, just out of the blue, huh?
Uh-huh.
Just all of a sudden you liked it. Maybe sometime you're going to start liking Hamburger Helper too. Do you think that will ever happen?
No.
No? It's not your favorite food?
No.
Is that your least favorite food?
Yes.
Yes.
It's at the bottom of the list.
Bottom of the list. What else is at the bottom of the list?
I don't know.
I don't know. You like everything else except for Hamburger Helper?
Well, I don't like hamburgers that much either. Hamburgers or Hamburger Helper.
So anything with the word hamburger you don't like?
I have a joke for you.
Okay, let's hear it.
What does the cow say to the other cow?
I don't like hamburgers.
No.
No, that's not what he said. Okay.
Move along. I have another joke for you.
Okay, what?
What did the cow say to the other cow?
What?
Pass the chicken and punt the burger. Do you know what punting is?
Why don't you tell me?
Well, punting is like passing to the other team. Because it's a burger and they're cows, so it's like punting to the
kicking.
to the other team in football. And passing is like passing to another player to score a touchdown, and it's chicken. It's a different type of food.
I see.
Like
so that's
chicken.
why it's funny, huh?
Well, jokes are sometimes not funny when somebody explains it.
Oh, yeah. When you have to explain it, it's not that funny, huh?
Because then you get the whole.
That's okay. You're still pretty funny. Even if you don't like hamburgers.